Funded by the Economic and Social Research Council, the Mitori project aims to forge a new shared research agenda about end-of-life issues in the UK and Japan. It brings together academics using the perspectives of social science, the humanities and ethics to examine how care of people at the end of life is currently organised in the two countries, and how this is shaped by relevant cultural, demographic, professional and policy factors. The project team is led by Professor David Clark and Professor Hirobumi Takanouchi and comprises of 6 earlier career academics. They are supported by a wider network of more than a dozen collaborators from both countries. The team assembled for the first time at the University of Glasgow School of Interdisciplinary Studies at the Dumfries campus. A mix of social events and a 2-day workshop enabled the whole team to kick off the project and plan the work in detail.
United Kingdom and Japan have common challenges in end-of-life issues. That is why collaborative work is important. We will develop new approaches to end-of-life issues from transdisciplinary perspectives.
The idea is to bring together like-minded colleagues from different contexts, people of varying levels of experience, but particularly early career researchers, to try and map out some of the issues that the two countries are facing. So there's a real potential to learn from one another in this approach, and we've, I think, assembled a really fantastic team of people.
The week began with some visits to nearby attractions in the villages of Dalswinton and Thornhill. After exploring the local landscape, the team hosted a death cafe at Thomas Tosh in Thornhill, where a number of the participants had Japanese connections. Day 2 was hosted at Allenton Peace Sanctuary, just outside of Dumfries in southwest Scotland. After a traditional Japanese lunch, Professor Clark and Professor Takanouchi gave short talks to an assorted group of Peace Sanctuary supporters and end-of-life specialists.
This is a chant I practice every day. So it focuses on watching, completely free watching.
Day 3 saw the start of the 2-day workshop. The goal of the workshop was to identify some key areas that the early career researchers, partnering in UK-Japan pairs, could further investigate. The team was joined by members of the wider collaborative group, Chao Fang and Joshua Gallagher, as well as Tetsuya Kishimoto, First Secretary at the Embassy of Japan in London.
You have two countries that in many ways are quite similar economically, geographically, demographically, and yet there's really significant cultural differences. And so I'm curious to see what we can learn from the Japanese context.
We've called it the Mitori project, which is a Japanese word that refers to the idea of accompanying a person at the end of life.
We formerly had a culture of Mitori and coped with the end-of-life issue as a natural life event. However, these issues have been highly medicalized, and I think we have lost the culture of Mitori at our society.
The team focused on 3 key areas: culture, practice and policy, in a series of talks and presentations.
What I'm looking forward to getting out of this project is learning more about cultural aspects of end-of-life care, both in Japan and here in the UK, and hopefully identify some issues or topics that could be fruitful for further research.
I hope to clarify what kind of hope and interest people have concerning end-of-life issues, then find better practices in the end of life.
I hope to achieve the extracting ethical, legal, and social challenges surrounding the end of life, and networking internationally and promoting the collaboration in the future.
By the closing stages of the workshop, and after much discussion and mutual learning, the team had selected 4 areas for further research: loneliness, dying and death, language and concepts relating to end-of-life issues, advanced care planning, and policies on end-of-life issues. In the coming months, the Mitori researchers will conduct reviews and comparative analysis on these themes, contrasting and comparing what is known about each of them in Japan and the UK. Workshop 2 will take place in December 2019 in Japan and will involve the presentation of results so far and explorations of how the team can continue its collaboration into the future. If you would like more information, please contact the Glasgow End of Life Studies group at endoflifestudies@glasgow.ac.uk or visit gla.ac.uk/endoflifestudies.